The next one, say solving a word problem using a quadratic equation with rational roots. Since it has rational roots, it tells me I really don't have to use the quadratic formula. If it had complex roots or some other weird thing like that, I would have to use quadratic formula, but these ones we should be able to set up and solve by factoring out. It says the length of my rectangle is 5 yards more than twice my width. So the length of my rectangle is 5 yards more than 2 times my width, twice my width. L equals 2W plus 5. The area of my rectangle is 63 yards squared. Area equals length times width, so I know that 63 is equal to 2W plus 5 times W. Substituting in the 2W plus 5 for my length. So using my distributive property there, 63 is going to equal 2W squared plus 5W. I've got a quadratic expression. I'm going to set it equal to 0, so I'm going to minus my 63. So 0 equals 2W squared plus 5W minus 63. And I'm going to solve by factoring. So if I'm going to factor that, that's going to factor into 2W and W would be my 2W squared. My signs. We know we're going to have one of each, we just don't know what order they go in yet. A negative and a positive. Factors of 63. 9 and 7. So if we check that, we get 14W minus 9W, and 14W minus 9W, sure enough, is the 5W in the middle. So, if I solve that first one, W would equal 9 over 2. Since we're talking about the width of a rectangle, they're going to change that to a decimal. 9 over 2 is 4.5 or 4.5, right? Now if I solve the other one, W would equal negative 7, but we're talking about the width of a rectangle, so we can't use the negative 7 answer, right? So we say, oh, that one doesn't work anyway. I know my width is 4.5. I then go back and find my length. So my length would equal 2 times 4.5 plus 5, which would give me 14. So my width is 4.5 or 4.5, my length is 14. If I wanted to double check myself to make sure I had the right answer, if you take 14 times 4.5, what do you suppose you get? 63, right? Because that's what the area is supposed to be. If you didn't get 63, something's wrong. So number 14 says the length of my rectangle is 5 meters less than twice my width. So what's L going to be equal to? 2W minus 5. This time it says the area is 33 meters squared, so 33 is going to equal my length, which is 2W minus 5 times my width, which is just W. Using my distributive property, 33 equals 2W squared minus 5W. And then since I have that quadratic expression, I'm going to set it equal to 0, so I'm going to minus my 33. So 0 equals 2W squared minus 5W minus 33. And then we get to try to factor that. W minus 11
W plus 3.
and W plus 3. That would give us 6W minus 11W, which sure enough is the negative 5W. We know the one with the plus sign isn't going to work because that's going to give us a negative answer. On the other one, if we solve that for W, we would get 5.5, right? We get 11 over 2, which is 5.5, which is how they're going to want that answer. So my width is 5.5. I still need to find my length. So substituting that in, 2 times 5.5 minus 5 gives me what for my length? 6. 11 minus 5 is 6. And again, if you would take 5.5 times 6, you should get 33 for the area. And because they're not very creative, this looks almost the same. It says the area of my rectangle is 42 yards squared. The length of my rectangle is 11 yards less than 3 times the width. So, how am I going to show the length?
3W minus 11.
3W minus 11. So, my area is 42. That's going to equal the 3W minus 11, which is my length, times my width. So 42 will equal 3W squared minus 11W using my distributive property. And then setting that equal to 0, I have to minus my 42. So we need to factor 3W squared minus 11W minus 42. W plus 7, and W minus 6. That gives me negative 18 plus 7, which is negative 11 in the middle. And which one of those won't give me a solution? The one with the plus sign. So this is the only one that's going to give me a solution. That one's easy to solve. W equals 6. My length then, 3 times 6 minus 11, which gives me 7. And of course, if I take 6 times 7, I get 42. Hey, that's supposed to be my area.